Eurocentric History, Psychiatry, and Politics of White Supremacy by Dr. Amos Wilson, the author of Black and Black Violence. May Ashe, Dr. Amos Wilson has joined the White Ancestors during COVID. But this here was underlined a couple years ago, and I want to go back to it. It says, I will show that our ignorance of our history has a different outcome from Europeans' ignorance of theirs. We must also recognize that history is not only written in books, but that history is contained in every facet of life. We are interacting in the context of history right at this very moment. This church, this building, is a historical event and represents historical evolution. And inside this historical structure, people's minds and bodies are changed and created. History is everywhere, written in the streets that we walk down, in every building, in every highway, in every yard, in everywhere we go. It's there. It's shaping, it's transforming, it's creating, it's blocking, it's constructing. So even though the Europeans may stop reading his history in his books, the history of the European is still fine and dandy and operating everywhere we turn and every place we go. In fact, one of the reasons why it may have been reduced in terms of history books per se is because it is hidden everywhere else. It is inextricably linked and wrapped into every situation, circumstance, and event of life. We study math and we would think it's originated in Greece. It is usually introduced that way. We get the Pythagoras theorem and the Euclidean geometry and the Boolean algebra and other European names spread throughout mathematics. The names and the concepts and who first discovered it are history, images being projected. We are not learning just neutral science and mathematics. European history is inculcated right in their studies. Every course we go into, it is intertwined with European history. We can't escape it. So simply because we don't show up in some class that calls itself the history of Europe, don't think we're escaping European history. Not by a long shot. In every discipline we study in the college or university, we're going to run into European history. It is intimately intertwined with all disciplines. As long as our own history is not intimately and inextricably intertwined with everything we do, with every study we undertake, it is not represented in our universe, in our buildings and on our walls, in our houses and on our streets. We need to study history more consciously than do the Europeans. We cannot always follow the route of the European people. They build history in the books and then they build it into the world, or vice versa. They may reduce the attention to the book, but history is still there and still functioning in the world. Therefore, we must forget about what the Europeans are doing and how the Europeans are studying or not studying history because we are not in their situation. Therefore, doing things their way leads to injurious and different outcomes for us. Let me read that again. Therefore, doing things their way, referring to the Europeans' way, leads to injurious and different outcomes for us. So not because something worked in the first world or something worked for the Europeans or something worked for the Greeks or something worked for the Americans or something works for the Spaniards, it means it's going to work for us. Our experience, our culture, our way of life is totally different. So as Dr. Amos Wilson says, he left it here for us. Therefore, doing things their way leads to injurious and different outcomes for us. Hi. Hi, Keegan. I didn't see you. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like and share. So, this is basically the falsification of African consciousness, Eurocentric history, satire, and the politics of white supremacy by Amos Wilson. And as he said, we can't always have to do things their way, okay? It would not work for us. It is going to prove to be disastrous for us. All right? So become conscious, become aware,